With me now in studio to discuss is TSN analyst Luke Wileman. Hi, Luke. Thank you for joining me this morning.
No problem.
So let's start by breaking down the results of the draw. What stood out to you the most here?
Well, I think because it's a new 48-team World Cup, we don't have that traditional group of death. Usually you look at the draw and you think, well, this is going to be a real problem for some of the superpowers of the world game. Hasn't been the case this time because there are more groups and more teams involved, which means more chance to advance because there's a round of 32 this year, not just going straight to a round of 16. So I don't think there are too many losers from the draw in terms of teams that are going to be in trouble. There are some teams that maybe have been drawn in big groups where you get two big teams, like a France and a Norway, Mbappe and Erling Haaland. You've got Brazil and Morocco in the same group as well. England and Croatia, who've had some big battles down the years on the biggest stage. But someone like Argentina, the defending champions, will be very happy with the group that they've got from this. They're in there with Algeria, Austria and Jordan. They should be able to finish top. And then the other two co-hosts, apart from Canada, I think will be very pleased with the group that they've got because the United States are in there with a couple of teams they've beaten recently, Paraguay and Australia, and Mexico as well. They'll start with their first game against South Africa. They then play South Korea as well. So there's a very good chance for both of them to get through. And Canada's, well, Jesse Marsh said middle of the road. So could have been better, could have been worse.
So which teams here, got the best draws?
Well, I think when you look at Canada, it's a case of it could have been great. They got the first couple of teams out of the pot, which was Switzerland, which are going to be a very good team. And then they've got Qatar. Now, Qatar coming out of that third pot was really a great draw for Canada because they should be able to beat them. And don't forget, we're still talking about a Canada side who, last time when we were in Qatar, it was can they score a goal, a first World Cup goal. Now it's can they get a first World Cup win. And that Qatar game really has to be circled. It'd be in BC Place, second game of the group. That was a dream draw for Canada to get Qatar. So you're looking at Switzerland and Qatar come out, and then it comes to pot 4 and Wayne Gretzky, and come on, give us a good draw here. And they go and get a playoff team which could potentially be Italy, which wiped out the advantage that they'd got from those first two rounds. So if it's Italy at BMO Field in Toronto to start the World Cup, it'll be a huge event, but it's probably the worst-case scenario for Canada heading in. So that's not a great draw for them. It could still be someone like a Wales or a Northern Ireland or a Bosnia-Herzegovina if they can get through the playoffs against Italy. So there's still an unknown there with that opening game. But when you talk about best-case scenario for Canada, it wasn't best, it wasn't worst, and they should be able to get out of the group here at a home World Cup.
Okay, so what games, other than, of course, Team Canada's games, what games are you going to be looking out for the most here?
Well, I think right now we're looking out for which teams will be coming to play in Toronto and Vancouver. And we know that Canada will play the first group game in Toronto, then the second two games in Vancouver. So the Qatar and Switzerland games will be in Vancouver. But we also know that the group that involves England will be in Toronto. So there could be a chance that either England or Croatia is playing in Toronto. Also, that France-Norway game, that group is going to be one of the games of the group stage for sure, because you've got Erling Haaland, who's one of the best strikers in the world right now for Norway, who are a team that are back at the World Cup after a long absence, going on against a team that won it in 2018 and got to the final and were very close to winning it again in 2022 with the world powers that they have, including the Ballon d'Or winner, best player in the world, Ousmane Dembele. So you've got a couple of matchups like that. One of the groups I'm looking forward to is actually Brazil, Morocco, Haiti, who are just in the World Cup for the second time. It's an incredible story to see them get there. And they're in there with Scotland as well. Scotland, it was so dramatic when they managed to get through to the World Cup with a last-minute goal against Denmark, get through there with a wonderful performance at home to make it back to the World Cup for the first time since 1998. So you've got two really big traditional superpowers there, Brazil and Morocco, and can Haiti and Scotland cause upsets in that group as well? So that's something to look for.
Most importantly, are you going to get to go see any of these games in person?
Well, we'll have wall-to-wall coverage, of course. So we'll be in stadium for the Canada games, in Toronto for the first one on TSN, and then Vancouver for the second two. And then we'll be there in stadium for as long as Canada go. If they win their group, they stay in Vancouver for the knockout games. If they don't win their group, they could be headed to the US. We'll be all the way to the final in New Jersey if Canada's there.
Okay, very exciting. Luke, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you.
That is Luke Wileman, TSN analyst.